Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be discussing the fallout of the Beckhams and the Markles. So if you enjoy this video, do not forget to hit that like button. It is that time, as always, where it is grab your drink of choice, and here we have another video from a lovely subscriber here. And don't forget, if you want to send in your videos, please do. Send yours in, email across here now, and I'll see you in a minute.
It's nice. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and the girls are thirsty. You gotta add a little something. Hein? Yeah. Il est 5 heures quelque part. On doit ajouter quelque chose à ce qu'on boit, parce que ça goûte très bien, n'est-ce pas? Oui. Voilà.
So this is what, like I say, this is when the devaluing starts to happen. And so it started with little things like, for example, David being invited but not sitting with Harry. So, and apparently he was pretty hurt by this. So this then starts to sow the seed as well with something's going on. Then you've also got the fact that Harry and Meghan then get married and they are snubbed for the reception for celebrities that they don't even know. But the difference being is that because Meghan has always coveted Hollywood, she would not see Victoria as someone that would give her the means to access Hollywood. So this is where she's groomed Victoria. She's taken Victoria for as much as she can. There's an extreme jealousy there of the relationship between Victoria, David, and then with Harry. Now she's got this wedding and she's invited all of these A-list celebrities. In her mind, Victoria's not needed anymore. She's got Oprah on speed dial now. She doesn't need Victoria. In her mind, Victoria is a lesser being because she's now above Victoria. She's now, there's not an equal now. There is now, I have married the Prince of the UK. I'm above you. I no longer need you. You're kind of like my subordinate now. And that is how she would have viewed this. So then you've got Victoria and David not being invited to the reception, but then seeing these other celebrities being invited, which is insulting. It is. They are friends with Harry. Harry should have said, hang on a minute. No, these have been friends. I've been friends with these people for a long time. They're coming. But like I've said, I do believe that the marriage was not a harmonious marriage. I think it was a forced marriage because of something that was going on behind the scenes. And I feel that Harry probably had his hands tied and was basically had to go along with everything that she suggested. Now, what's interesting as well is that Tom Bower actually also states that it was around this time that Harry and Meghan were also known to be searching themselves on the internet for anything hateful said about them. Now, bearing in mind that these two have said that they stay away from the internet, they don't look at those things, but they do. And I think that this is, like say, Tom Bower is saying this in his book, that they actually were doing this. So it's not a far stretch to think that this is what they've been doing the whole way through, which is why I've said before that it's funny that when a lot of things are circulating regarding the alleged children, that suddenly a picture comes out as if to say, oh, you know, people, it's growing again in regards to the kids. We need to put this picture out to shut everyone up. And they do that a lot. And they also do that with the thing with the PR. It's like, you know, oh, so-and-so's possibly been invited to wherever. And that's really almost like a megaphone out there into the media of like, oh, we're hoping to get that invite. We're hoping to get that invite. Maybe that person will see that post and will say, oh, you know, Harry and Meghan are interested. So at this point as well, she would have seen Victoria now as competition. She knows that Victoria and David are incredibly popular. They are one of the most popular couples in the UK, probably alongside, just below, say, maybe the Prince and Princess of Wales. But they're an incredibly popular couple. So now Meghan sees them as competition, like she sees the Prince and Princess of Wales as competition. So if she's seeing all these flattering things being said about Victoria, but then actually negative things are said about her, this would anger her immensely. And then it's also coming out that Harry is then distancing himself from David, and it's coming out that Meghan is instrumental in that. But again, Meghan is jealous. She doesn't want, this is part of the isolation. They will do one of two things. They will either change your perception of the person they're going up against, or they will change that person's perception of Harry. So it's either she would change Harry's perception of the Beckhams, or she will make sure the Beckhams start to see Harry in a bad light. She will do it one of two ways. That's what they do. And that's what she was doing here. Now, there was also around, I think, 2018, there was a coat that Victoria loaned Meghan, and she never got that coat back. And that was the coat that she wore for the Christmas walk. You know, even up until this point, whenever, Meghan was spoken about to Victoria, she always spoke very highly of her. They were still trying to keep this relationship with Harry as much as possible, even though at this point it was dwindling massively.
Here we have a brief interval, so go grab your cuppa because it's time for member shout outs. And today we are doing Hellbell666 and Maya. So if you want to be in the shout out, which is my new thing where I randomly choose a member and give you a shout out on the channel. So well done to you, ladies. Thank you to everyone who is supporting, and don't forget to go to the description box below for all details. Now, let's go back to the main video.
When you have the fact this relationship is now becoming quite strained, you've also got the fact that then, we have the alleged pregnancy that we have with Meghan, the distancing that was happening so around that time. And then one of the biggest things that then seemed to happen, which created the biggest fallout, Harry on the phone to David accused Victoria of leaking stories about her. Now, you don't have to know much about the Beckhams on a personal level to see that this is a couple, especially given what happened with going back to David Beckham and this alleged, and I will say alleged, affair with Rebecca Lewis, and how traumatic that was for Victoria, and it was splashed everywhere. This is not a woman that is then going to do that to another woman. She is not going to then put this out there. She's quite a private person. You can see that just from all of the things that we know on a public level. So the idea that she was instrumental in leaking stories about Meghan is just ludicrous. But this is very common for someone like Meghan, who's a narcissist, because this would be her ace up her sleeve card of, given Harry's hatred of the media, even though he courts it when he wants to. So he's believing Meghan because she's saying that these things are being leaked. And so that was then the breakdown of the relationship. And I can understand why. If you're being accused of something that you haven't done, especially by somebody that should know you better, should know that, you've got the fact that Harry has been friends with David and Victoria for years. Meghan's been on the scene for a few years, and he doesn't know her in that space of time, not really, but he'd rather believe her because obviously he's getting married to her, he's engaged to her, and then, and then he marries her. So he's in it with her. So she's basically saying, you've got to do something about this, you've got to say to them. And so she's done it. She's done it. She's literally achieved the goal of separating Harry from the Beckhams, because that's exactly what her aim was. If she cannot fool Victoria, if she cannot win them over, then isolate from them. And now Victoria and David are, especially Victoria, because it's always the woman for a female narcissist. You are now enemy number one now, like Princess Catherine is for her. So, of course, then that's fueled more than in July when Victoria and David's son got married. They were not invited, and there was a lot of rumours that were coming out. And again, I believe these were puff pieces put out by the Harkles, because for her, this whole thing of the separation and this point they've left, and this would have been a big coup for them to go to their wedding, especially if Meghan believes that maybe, William and Catherine are going to go. So she would have wanted to make sure that their name was in the media in connection. And of course, it's also to overshadow, because that's what Meghan does. So when you've got this coming out, this lovely news of Victoria and David's son is getting married, what does Meghan do? starts putting out all these PR pieces, allegedly. So then all it's being spoken about is not the wedding as such, but it's whether Harry and Meghan are going to the wedding, which is what they've done with everything. Anything connected to the royal family. It's become, will Harry and Meghan be going to the coronation? Will Harry and Meghan be going to the Jubilee? Will Harry and Meghan be going to the King's birthday? And that is what we get. And that is what they do. And of course, this is all flared up again because David Beckham recently visited the King, and there's rumours coming out that the King chose David over his son, etc., etc. But I have it on good authority that when I spoke to Angela Levin, she did say that the King reached out to Harry to meet up with him, and he refused. He refused. So all this stuff that comes out of, oh, poor Harry and poor me, Harry, and, you know, that my family are so mean to me. Well, firstly, even if they were, that's consequences for what you've done. But secondly, it's not. It is them trying to create themselves to be the victim, which is why Harry wanted to walk up those steps on his own, and why it was like, oh, the family weren't there. The King has his arrangements booked well in advance. So this meeting with David would have been booked well in advance. But the fact is, he still tried to make time for his son. But the problem you have is that Harry makes stipulations like, yeah, I might meet you, but you're not going to have Camilla there. He doesn't want anyone, because he sees his father as someone that he can potentially easily manipulate, but he doesn't want other people in the room that could stop that from happening. So he doesn't want Camilla in the room with him, because he probably sees Camilla as quite a strong influence on King Charles, and is someone that probably doesn't accept Harry's BS. So he doesn't like that. And so this is what he does. He does this. So he doesn't want Prince William in the room, because he knows that Prince William will say something. So yeah, he's a coward, and he sees his father as easily manipulated. He's probably quite soft, and so he wants to see him on his own. But so he's refused to see his father. You know, it come out that Harry apparently invited his father to the Invictus at St. Paul's Cathedral. That didn't happen. There was no invite. He didn't invite his father, but again, puts this out to make it look like, oh, my father rejected me again. So, and it seems as well that the most recent one is when Harry was in the US, and apparently that as Prince Harry come in, but Victoria was standing there with her son, and they didn't even, where other people looked round to see who it was, they didn't even look round. So there were no footage that come out of the meeting after the game. This is the problem now, is that Harry and Meghan are facing consequences, big consequences for their behaviour, and that there lies the problem. And when you have somebody that has single-handedly orchestrated the removal of everyone in Harry's life, and I'm not saying that Harry isn't completely blameless with this, there are obviously events that have led up to the reason why Harry is so beholden to Meghan, and it's not through love. It's not. You cannot have two people that are the way they are that have a harmonious relationship, and I've said this before. But it was clear from the start that all this was Meghan literally love bombing Victoria because she needed Victoria. She wanted to use Victoria, but as soon as Victoria said no to her getting freebies, and then Meghan secured the relationship, and then had the likes of Oprah and other people from Hollywood, like I say, on her speed dial, Victoria was no longer needed. So then it was the plan then to, well, I've now got to ruin the relationship between Harry and David Beckham, and that's what she did. And that's what she's done, really, through everything. When you look at it, she's ruined the relationship. Well, they both have. I'm not going to completely say that Harry isn't blameless here, but, you know, she's definitely orchestrated this. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Is there something that I've missed out? Because it is difficult to try and weed the truth from the lies. So if there's something I've missed out on, then let me know. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to head on across to my Coffee and Crime channel, where I will be talking about the recent events with Jay Slater, the young 19-year-old lad that's been missing in Tenerife for the last 2 weeks. So yeah, and I will be covering this with various other videos along the way. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. So in the meantime, as always, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye bye.